Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The brothers of whistleblower Julie Patidongan have been identified by the Philippine National Police as the missing links in the disappearance of several Sabongeros.
A Senate panel is set to hold an investigation into the rise of online gambling in the country.
The Education Department uncovers a 100 million peso anomaly in its senior high school voucher program.
The Social Security system has announced a 3-year pension increase starting September 2025 without raising contributions.
First in the news, authorities may have finally uncovered the missing links in the case of the disappeared Sabongeros. They are now pointing to the brothers of self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Patidongan. Here's the report.
The Philippine National Police now has in custody 2 individuals believed to be missing links in the case of the missing Sabongeros. The suspects have been identified as Elakim Patidongan and Jose Patidongan, brothers of self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan, also known as alias Totoy.
Naniniwala tayo, ito yung mga missing link doon sa mga kaso ng missing Sabongero.
CCTV footage caught Elakim withdrawing money from a bank account of a missing Sabongero.
Ang tanong dyan, paano napunta sa kanya yung ATM? Kasama ba siya sa nakumuha doon sa nawawalang si Melbert Santos at 3 pa niyang kasamahan? May nag-utos ba sa kanya para mag-withdraw? At may alam ba siya asaan na itong mga nawawalang missing Sabongero?
Jose, on the other hand, appeared in a cell phone video escorting a Sabongero in handcuffs who was later reported missing. The Patidongan brothers were arrested in an undisclosed Southeast Asian country and flown back to the Philippines on July 22. Jose has a warrant of arrest for robbery, while Elakim is wanted for falsifying his identity, having used the name of Robert Bailon on his passport. The PNP asserted that charges must be filed against the Patidongan brothers, including alias Totoy, as part of the legal process. This is especially crucial if Totoy is to be considered a witness, as suggested by some families of the missing Sabongeros.
Kailangan po silang sampahan ng kaso bilang mga accused, kasama po si Julie Patidongan, who himself admitted na alam po niya itong mga nangyayari po na ito. The only way para po sila maging witness at ma-discharge as state witness, kailangan po silang sampahan po ng kaso.
Meanwhile, the PNP confirmed that no DNA profile could be extracted from the bones recovered from the Taal Lake so far. Due to the extended submersion in water, the bones were contaminated and yielded no usable DNA. Additionally, the 3 remains recovered at a public cemetery in Laurel, Batangas did not match the DNA samples provided by the families of the missing Sabongeros.
Senator Erwin Tulfo will lead a Senate investigation into the rise of online gambling in the country. Tulfo, chair of the Senate Games and Amusement Committee, said he will invite PAGCOR, the Department of Finance, and other key agencies to assess its social and economic impact. He also plans to call on youth groups, parents, educators, and religious organizations to share testimonies during the hearings. While some support tighter regulation, Tulfo said he favors a total ban, warning that merely regulating the industry could drive more operators underground.
The Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center is ramping up its efforts to eliminate online gambling. To tell us more about this, we are joined by CICC Deputy Executive Director Asek Aboy Paraiso. Asek, thank you for joining us. We're attempting to talk to Asek to talk about this more, pero yung signal natin nawala. But kasi this is growing concern right now, no? Kasi right after Pogo, may mga naglipahan na rin ng mga iba-ibang illegal online gambling, mga isabong. I'm seeing ang daming issues regarding gambling. So we wanted to get updates on this naman.
Actually, kasi si ICC is, yun nga, they're doing a lot of efforts para daw ma-wipe out nga itong isabong na to dito sa Philippines. Kasi ang daming, certain percentage, ano, ang talagang gumagamit na or na naglalaro ng nag-ooperate ng online sabong.
All right, I think we have Asek Aboy Paraiso on the line. Asek?
Magandang umaga po, Sir Angelo, Ma'am Angela. Salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin sa programa.
O sige, Asek, let's get started. No? What prompted po the CICC to do a crackdown on this regulation on the online gambling issue?
Well, even before, nung tayo po ay itinalaga bilang deputy pa noon na executive director po, ang isa po pinakausap sa akin is tanggalin ho lahat ng online harms. And part of these online harms that are victimizing our kababayan is really online gambling, yung illegal type of online gambling. Because we saw that these illegal online gambling platforms rigged. Pag yung mga influencers na naglalaro sa live streaming nila, parating nananalo, hindi natatalo. Pero pag tayo tumataya, parating talo yung mga kababayan natin. So this really prompted us to do not only an investigation but really a crackdown on these illegal online gaming platforms.
Asek, I understand kasi madaming, there are several online farms. Ang katanungan ng marami dito, is it individually owned by different people or is there one big group that handles all of these online farms?
There are several big groups that are handling these
Several
online
big groups,
gambling
okay.
And these are international groups. We can see that the backends are outside the country, in Bangladesh, in Myanmar, in the Middle East. As far as Russia, the fundings are coming from elsewhere, and the funds that are generated from the Philippines are also siphoned off outside the country.
Okay.
Do we also see a possible link nito mga online gambling na to sa mga Pogo, yung mga operators ng Pogo before?
Yes, and in fact, the big Pogos are still operating, although they have, there are several breakaway groups na parang nag-guerrilla tactics na sila. Instead of one big building, nandun sila lahat. Ngayon, makikita natin, tinitingnan namin ni UC Gilbert Cruz ng PAOK na marami na sila individually, and these are relocate sila sa mga remote areas na.
Well, I understand po that we recognize nga itong online e-sabong na to, the talagang growing threat to the country's cybersecurity and social fabric. Upon your investigation po, ASEC, ilang porsyento na po ba dito sa Pilipinas yung mga nag-ooperate ng ganyan?
Well, the funny thing is the campaign before and the crackdown sa online gambling, especially with the content creation here in the Philippines work, nakikita natin yung mga mas dumadami na yung traditional na sabong, which is allowed by law. Yung content naman na nakikita natin sa online sabong ngayon na nag-ooperate pa rin sa Pilipinas, nakikita natin that the contents are coming from other countries. One proof of that is we discovered when we arrested Congressman si Arnie Teves. There is the back end and the operations are happening Timor-Leste or East Timor. Meron silang tabuhan doon na ini-stream dito.
Okay, kasi ang question dito is yung itong mga videos like on our screen ngayon of yung mga cockfighting. Is this streamed online or naka-pre-record online live and naka-pre-record to with yung sinasabi mo nga rigged results?
Yeah, pwedeng pre-recorded to Sir Angelo, at saka these are all existing. Meron yung live, meron din pre-recorded, and if it's pre-recorded tapos papapasa pa dyan, knowing the results, that's rigged games na estafa na yan . And although nakikita rin natin if you go to YouTube, you go to Facebook, yung mga videos naman, contents din naman yan. So yan din hindi ka nga alam pwedeng tumaya pero may napapanood mo mga sabong. So these are the nuances of online gaming platforms.
Yung mga live content po ng pagsasabong, doesn't YouTube take it down? Kasi alam ko yung YouTube may mga very strict din sila about certain content that spreads among its platform .
I think they're taking it down, and to be fair to our friends in the social media platforms, they're doing all they can, but they also need the help of government and especially the general public para yung mga nakakalusot sa kanila, isumbong natin sa kanila. Kasi ito ang blocking niya URL-based hindi naman content-based
That's right.
So ibig sabihin, pag na-block na nila isang site, pero may nag-stream ng content na gano'n, hindi na nila mabantayan kasi ibang URL naman ang ginagamit na.
That's right.
Just to clarify, ASEC, when the CICC issued a statement vowing to wipe out e-sabong, this is both for, of course, illegal and legal as well?
There is no legal e-sabong na kasi, Ma'am Angela.
All right.
So talagang etong isabong, as far as we can, we would disrupt them, and then if we can find out who if there's a back end here, there are participants here, we would go after them.
May ano pa po yung mga nakikita po natin na mga organized crime na maaaring i-link din po dito sa isabong, ASEC?
Well, parang ano sila they have a point of convergence
Yeah.
These isabong sites we see that there's evidence to suggest that nag-uusap sila ng mga illegal gaming platforms, then maybe to share the backend, maybe to share the client base. So there's a convergence there. So talagang nag-uusap na tong yung criminal illegal gambling underworld, nag-uusap-usap na itong mga to
When wiping out this isabong na to, meron po bang itinalaga ang inyong ahensya, ang CICC, na time frame para po matapos po itong operation po ninyo?
Well, ito po talaga, aminin ko, unang-una, we have to have, and I'm fortunate to have the partnership of other government agencies, but internally we have to expand our manpower para talaga banda ito. Kasi the nuance of this is, ma-take down po yung mga platforms nila, nakikita natin, they just pop up another channel or another URL kung saan naman sila magpapataya. So this is a cat and mouse game, and so this is a slow burn process until we get to the point that we can cooperate with other countries as well, kung saan naman nakabase yung mga backend. Para naman matigil talaga to. So we would start the campaign and we would keep up the momentum, Ma'am Angela.
ASEC, kasi when we were talking to Sir Winston Casio, no, he said that yung mga take down nila mga illegal mga sites na may mga farming equipment. This is regards to sa yung number of farming. Sabi niya may mga direct link po daw ito sa mga dating sa Pogo. So I'd like to clarify yung sinabi natin kanina. There is a direct link. Do you see a possibility na most of the bosses of this former Pogo are now running this operation?
A part of their process is now connected with illegal online gambling. So hindi pa rin nawawala yung scam farms nila, hindi pa rin nawawala yung nila sa ibang mga bansa using the backend here in the country. So pero nagkaroon na, parang nag-expand, nag-merger with illegal online. There's evidence to suggest that what Director Winston said is true, na meron ng convergence there.
And ASEC, if there's mga kababayan natin that encounter these isabong online and they would like to report this, they're scared kasi kanina nila i-report kasi alam nila na these are backed by big groups, and of course yung safety nila, they're after their own safety.
Yeah, they can report it to 1326. We can guarantee their confidentiality.
So
if they want, they can come in.
Okay.
That's the hotline for CICC. If they want, they can come into CICC. We can guarantee also their anonymity. Kami naman, inahabol namin na magkaroon ng disruption, ma-block the mga sites ito.
Yes.
Then we work with our law enforcement agencies para naman doon sa mga participants here in the Philippines.
Finally, ASEC, let's talk about the online gambling as a whole. Ito po yung inasahan na sasabihin sana ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa kanyang SONA, pero wala po siyang nabanggit tungkol dito. But you pointed out in one of your recent interviews that a total ban on online gambling platforms is not the solution. Can you explain that to us po?
Because we've seen the effects of prohibiting something absolutely. For example, traditionally, the era of prohibition in the United States. Now we see it in modern times dito sa Isabong. They just go underground, their operations expand, and they become more vicious. Parang even, kahit sino na tumaya, kahit bata na yan. Unlike pag regulate natin sila, we bring them into the folds of government where we can regulate them, make sure that the games are safe, hindi nadadayo mga kababayan natin, and there are stricter regulations para naman ma-limit yung addiction ng mga kababayan natin. Kasi we understand that this is a pastime also na hindi may iwasan ng mga kababayan natin So we have to recognize that fact. And plus, I think the infrastructure of government, especially sa amin, ngayon nakikipagpatintero pa kami. Shutdown kami, puput up sila na sites. Doon sa mga illegal, isipin nyo na pag lahat yan naging illegal, kailangan siguro isang isang malaking town na ang kailangan namin para lang makipag-keep up dito sa mga illegal online gaming platforms.
Oo
So,
nga.
Asek, follow up lang before we let you go. No? So, have you coordinated po with any of the congressmen or senators? Kasi iba-ibang version ang naglalabasan with regards to this. No? May regulation, may total ban, and definitely you will be at the forefront of this if ever a bill is passed.
Tama po. Tayo naman nakikipag-usap na doon sa ibang mga mababatas natin, especially sa lower house. Hinihintay naman natin na ipatawag tayo na ating mga butihing senador at we would express our views naman po at saka yung mga challenges if ever there would be a total ban on these illegal online gaming sites. To be clear, we leave it up to the wisdom of Congress really
Yes.
to legislate. Pero kami we would if practicality-wise, we would speak from experience. Ano yung experience natin on battling and then combating these illegal online gaming platforms?
All right, thank you so much for your time. CICC Deputy Executive Director, Asek Aboy Paraiso.
All right, the Department of Economy, Planning and Development has flagged delays in 44 foreign-assisted infrastructure projects. Now, the list includes high-profile transportation projects like the Metro Manila Subway and North-South Commuter Railway and the Cebu Bus Rapid Transit. In total, 39 loan projects and 1 grant project are currently experiencing major delays, while 3 others are under early warning status. The country's official development assistance portfolio grew to $39.6 billion in 2024, mostly concentrated on transport and connectivity. DEV urges lead agencies to improve early project preparation and ensure timely funding to avoid further setbacks. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. Alright, yun nga pag-usapan din natin muna yung yung usapin nga ngayon ng Supreme Court, yung ruling pa rin because by August 6,
yes.
no, the Senate will convene as Senate in the plenary to talk about finally nga yung magiging decision nila if they will vote to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court or will continue the impeachment process. All right, and to provide more insights into the Supreme Court ruling on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment, we are joined by former Senate President Franklin Drilon this morning. Good morning po. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning. Magandang umaga po. Good morning.
Okay, Senator, let's get right to it po. There have been several senators with different opinions from kay Tito Soto and SP Cheese about the interpretation po of the decision of the Supreme Court. Ano po ang basa nyo dito?
Sa akin, medyo mali ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Unang-una, dapat, alam mo, pinag-aaralan na mga abogado, alam nila kung mayroong sinasabing political cases
Yes.
or political questions. Dito sa aming mga abogado, pag sinabi mong political question, dapat huwag lang pakialaman ng Korte Suprema dahilan sa mga maraming consequences yan. At yan po ang una nating titingnan.
Yes.
Doon po sa first paragraph pa lang, first paragraph or first two paragraphs of the decision, they recognize that the impeachment is at least partly a political decision. At dapat they should have refrained already from deciding the case on the merits because it is a political question involved.
That's right.
Ibig sabihin, may mga political decisions na dapat hayaan sa political departments ng pamahalaan na mag-decide. Halimbawa, ito pong impeachment. Ang decision dyan ay whether or not to impeach is a political process. At uulitin ko lang, doon po sa first two paragraphs ng decision mismo, sinabi na nila na by political process at least partly. Ngayon, alam mo kasi kung pinakialaman ng Korte Suprema, halimbawa dito, yung impeachment trial, unang-una, pwede rin pagdating ng panahon, pag nagpresenta ang Korte Suprema ng budget doon po sa Kongreso, pwede rin po sisihin ng Kongreso kung ang mga constitutional duties ba ng Supreme Court nagagampanan nila. Halimbawa, sa kalagay sa ating saligang batas na dapat from the time the case is submitted for decision, dapat within 3 months or 1 year, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, dapat desidihan ng Korte Suprema. Tanongin, ilan ba ang kaso na nakabinbin na hindi pa nadedesisyonan after 1 year? So, there are many, or yung mga basta, kaya sa aming mga abogado, isa sa aming napag-aralan, dapat tanggapin ang record ng Kongreso at huwag questionin. Kung ang record sinasabi dumaan sa proseso, ang assumption dyan is tama po yan, hindi mo gagalawin ang desisyon ng political bodies ng pamahalaan.
But having said that po, do you believe that Supreme Court talaga pong nagkaroon po ng judicial overreach sila and that the ruling is grossly unfair and may actually violate the Constitution?
Yes, to me, there is a judicial overreach. There is a judicial overreach. Dapat hindi nila pinakialaman.
Yes, Sen, no, kasi ang sabi ng iba is they also amended their own previous, I think kay what's this, Francisco.
2003
That's
Francisco
correct.
versus House of
Now,
Representatives.
given this, Sen, that they amended their previous decision,
That's correct.
what should the
Okay.
Senate now do?
Alam mo, Jan, alam mo, yung amending the previous decision,
Aha.
hindi yun masama dahil talagang napapalit na ang Court Suprema, pwede na lang palitan ang decision nila. Ang problema lang, binigyan na ng retroactive effect. Dapat dapat hindi ganon. Dapat applicable na lang sa future cases. Ito, they changed the rule. The House of Representatives followed the rule, but the court changed the rule and made it apply to this particular case. Dapat prospective ang application, hindi retroactive.
So what happens now, former Senator Drilon? Kasi ang Senate on August 6 will convene as a Senate in the plenary, not as an impeachment court. Kasi sabi po nila, wala na silang jurisdiction over this case. And they would probably vote kung talaga po ba sila ay mag-a-abide sa Supreme Court ruling or ipagpapatuloy itong impeachment case. Gaya po ng resolution na pinapasa po ngayon ng ilang mga senador katulad ni Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Tito Soto, Senator Kiko Pangilinan na ituloy ang impeachment trial.
Sa akin po, para maiwasan natin ang constitutional crisis, dapat dapat sundin na natin ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema. At may dapat naman, on the other hand, ang Korte Suprema dapat tingnan nila muli ang kanilang decision kung pwede ba nilang makorekt yung kanilang pagkakamali na sa tingin ng maraming abogado, nagkamali sila. So, two things. Number one, ako'y hindi sang-ayon na magkaroon ng crisis, ng constitutional crisis by the Senate insisting on a trial. We must respect the decision of the Supreme Court. But having said that, mayroong motion for reconsideration naman na ipapile ang House of Representatives. Kung hindi pa na-file, dapat naman tingnan ng Supreme Court ang kanilang decision. Pwede bang baguhin doon? Siguro maganda kung magkaroon ng oral arguments para po maliwanagan lahat. At mga tanong, kagaya ng mga tanong natin, may tanong doon sa oral arguments.
Ang tanong dito, Senator Drilon, kasi the impeachment process is supposed to be a tool for sa ating mga kababayan to hold our officials accountable. Now, does this new decision render the impeachment process weaker? And given also that the justices sa Supreme Court po are impeachable officials?
I do not, being weaker or not, I have no opinion, but sa akin lang po, masyadong pinakialaman ng Korte Suprema ang kaso na dapat hindi nila binigyan ng ganong klaseng treatment. Medyo, sabi ko nga, may judicial overreach. Dapat hindi nila pinakialaman ng ganitong paraan.
Well, moving forward, former Senator, as someone who has served in the Senate for many years, how should legislators now approach impeachment proceedings after this ruling?
Again, paano po? Hindi kita masyado.
As someone who has served in the Senate for many years, how should legislator now moving forward approach impeachment proceedings after this ruling?
Well, dapat lang, sundin lang Korte Suprema sa aking tingin. Mag-iingat lang at Korte Suprema mag-iingat din. Dahil hindi naman pwedeng padalos-dalos yung mga ganitong klase. Mag-ingat din sila dahil sa kanilang kapangyarihan ang stability ng ating mga institution sa ating bansa. Kaya ako'y nakikiusap na kung pwede sana tingnan muli ng Korte Suprema kung dapat silang baguhin sa kanilang decision.
Pero looking back, Senator, sa naging proseso po nitong impeachment case against VP Sara, saan po do you think that the Congress or lower house may have
Okay.
erred a little in technical... looking back po at itong process, nitong impeachment na kay VP Sara, do you think Congress po or the lower house invited these kind of decisions because of technicalities or medyong hindi sila sumunod sa process?
Hindi kita maintindihan. Sa akin, sinunod ng House of Representatives ang proseso.
What about the Senate
Ang
po?
proseso na nakalaan noong tinalakay nila ang impeachment complaint, sinunod nila ang decision ng Court Suprema. Unfortunately, yung Court Suprema, sa aming tingin, may panibagong patakaran na inimpose at ginawang retroactive.
But what about the Senate po? Do you also share the sentiment of the others saying na nagkaroon lang talaga, nag-delaying tactics lang ang Senate, headed by the Senate President Jesus Cordero, dito sa nangyari na to?
I don't want to comment on that. I think it's not fair for me to comment.
Alright.
Those are the conclusions which I leave to for the people to judge.
Well, taking this opportunity, former Senator Drilon, to ask you na rin po regarding doon sa mga pinag-uusapan din po ngayon sa both houses, yung kanilang pagiging open po ng BICAM, pagdating po sa usapin ng budget. Do you believe na tama po yung gano'n na lang po yung gawin natin dahil nag-ugat po itong mga usapin na to sa usapin ng budget and also doon na rin po sa usapin ng flood control budgets na dapat daw po binubuksan na sa publiko yung bicameral conference na ito para po nalalaman po ng taong bayan yung ginagawa sa pagbabudget ng ating pera.
Sang-ayon po ako dyan. Dapat open to the public. Ngunit hindi po yan ang buong solusyon. That's a good start. I endorse it. Dapat buksan sa publiko. Pero may mga gawin pa sigurong dapat para po talagang babantayan ng taong bayan kung ano ang ating mangyari sa ating budget. Sang-ayon po ako sa sinabi ng Pangulo na kanyang ibibito yung mga items na hindi sang-ayon sa National Economic Program. Sang-ayon po ako dyan. At dapat po ibito or hindi or i-impound. Yan po ang pwede nilang gawin. Ibito ang mga items na yan na hindi sang-ayon sumusunod sa National Expenditure Program, ibito or kung lalagyan ng for later release. Nagawa.
Were you able to watch po the SONA of President Bongbong Marcos last Monday? What's your take on that po? Baka meron po kayong gustong sabihin regarding that.
Wala na. Okay na sa akin.
Okay, doon po sa usapin po nung Senator Bam Aquino and Senator Kiko Pangilinan na naging usapin din po sa pagsali po nila sa mayorya. Do you have, what's your take on that po?
Sa akin po, ang importante na ang kanilang plataforma ay kanilang magampanan. Dahil yan po ang titingnan ng taong bayan kung talaga bang sincero sila sa kanilang programa tungkol sa agrikultura at saka sa edukasyon. Ako po dumaan sa Senado at matagal ako nagserbisyo sa Senado at ang importante po na titingnan ka ng taong bayan, ano ba ang nagagawa mo? So, dahil makukunti lang naman ang senador, 24 lang. Kaya po yung mga nasa mayorya ka o sa minority, hindi po masyadong importante ang dahilan sa ang bawat senador buong boto not in accordance with majority or minority kung hindi ang kanilang agenda.
So para po sa inyo, tama lang po yung kumbaga strategiya na ginawa po nung dalawang bagong pag-upo na senador po natin?
Tama po yan. Tama po.
Okay. And lastly, taking your time pa rin po.
Tama na siguro. May ginagawa pa ako.
Alright. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That was our former Senate President, Franklin Drilon.
All right, Senator Risa Ontiveros said a draft resolution is now circulating in the Senate, citing former justices' advice on how to move forward after the Supreme Court declared the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte unconstitutional. Here's the report.
Senator Risa Ontiveros says she is ready to push for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. This despite the Supreme Court's ruling that the complaint is unconstitutional and that the Senate has no jurisdiction over the case. Senate President Chis Escudero had earlier warned that a constitutional crisis could erupt if the Senate insists on holding the impeachment trial. But Ontiveros said they will make sure that doesn't happen.
Wala namang may gustong magkaroon ng constitutional crisis ni political gridlock. Kaya nga talagang binubuno namin these days, these weeks, kung papaano tamang dapat kumilos ang Senado. At lahat nito ay pinag-aaralan namin sa ngayon at ihahain namin ng kompleto pagdating sa plenary sa August 6.
As of now, Ontiveros has signed a draft resolution authored by Senator Kiko Pangilinan, urging the Supreme Court to reconsider its ruling on the impeachment case against the Vice President. The resolution was also signed by Senator Bam Aquino and Senate Minority Leader Tito Soto. It emphasizes the statements of former justices who opposed the Supreme Court's decision.
Nagsasite po siya ng mga references sa ilang mga dating justices na nagbibigay ng payo kung paano, ilang mga gabay kung paano pwedeng mag-move forward.
Members of the minority, including Ontiveros and Soto, say Senator Mig Zubiri respects the resolution, but Zubiri stands firm on his position that the Senate must comply with the Supreme Court ruling. Now, in other news, in weather, some areas may experience rains over the weekend. This as the southwest monsoon or hanging habagat persists. Scattered rains are expected over Ilocos, Batanes, Abra, Benguet, and Zambales. Metro Manila, the rest of Luzon, and entire Visayas may experience isolated rains. Mindanao may also expect isolated rains due to localized thunderstorms.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council reported that the death toll from tropical cyclones Krising, Dante Emong, and the southwest monsoon has risen to 37. Most of the reported deaths occurred in Metro Manila, Calabarzon, and Western Visayas. 2 deaths have been confirmed, both caused by falling trees during heavy winds. Over 7.6 million people across the country have been affected by the bad weather. Damage to infrastructure, agriculture, and irrigation systems is estimated at more than 12 billion pesos. A total of 241 cities and municipalities have declared a state of calamity. So far, government aid has reached 763 million pesos as response operations continue in the hardest hit communities.
The Education Department has uncovered a 100 million anomaly in its senior high school voucher program. Secretary Sonny Angara said ghost beneficiaries were inserted into the system, with cybercrime and criminal complaints already filed against involved individuals and schools. So far, DepEd has recovered 65 billion pesos and flagged 54 private schools, some of which have refunded the government. Angara also vowed stricter safeguards and warned of civil and criminal charges. Oo, yan nakita nila kasi mga nag-abuso nga, no, take advantage ng situation during the pandemic. Nakita nila kasi yan na may mga ghost students doon sa mga senior high school voucher program. So, millions of pesos ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Although, may mga ibang nagbalik na, pero syempre, meron pa rin yung hindi. At saka syempre, hindi lang basta-basta po pwedeng ibabalik mo lang, then we're good, diba? So, dapat sampahan yung mga merong kaso dito, no, yung may kinalaman dito para hindi na maulit. Can you imagine kasi they took advantage of the pandemic na dapat sana sa mga bata itong mga pag-aaral na ito, di ba?
Tsaka there are other programs in government that use the voucher system na nagkaroon also ng investigation long time ago, I think a decade ago, about other programs nga na yung mga voucher systems, yung mga vouchers na pupunta sa ghost students, di ba? So, ang nangyayari kasi, when they move forward, I remember, nagkaroon ng assessment. So I don't know dito kung ano magiging protocol dito sa vouchers na ito. If may random interviews on supposed to be beneficiaries of the voucher, tinatawagan ba sila randomly, or I don't know how they trace this. But if they don't do this kasi, ang sabi nila, ang laking budget ang nawawala.
Kanina 64 million
64 million,
pinag-uusapan
ang laki
natin.
nun.
Ano? And I think lalawak pa yan upon the investigation. But for context, ang kasi itong senior high school voucher program na ito, ibinibigay doon sa mga deserving
Yes,
students,
oo.
'di ba, na pwedeng mag-aral sa mga private schools, 'di
Oo.
ba? Normally, kunyari, sa isang private school, meron silang allotted na 100 senior high school voucher system na manggagaling sa iba't ibang public school.
Yes.
Na sa tingin nila ay deserving nga na makapasok dun sa certain private school.
At saka ang gusto pa tignan ng DepEd, specifically kung sino sa mga, well, if there are people within the schools that are involved in this anomaly mismo, or sino, or also within DepEd, no, tinitignan din nila if may connection sila. But they have to clean this up kasi maganda naman sana ang program ng voucher program. Kasi I remember when we were, of course, looking for schools kay Mio, di ba? May vouchers na that are offered to the less fortunate kababayan natin, pero deserving. Oo. Pero problema daw yung mga even undeserving na ino-offer na voucher. Mga may kaya na, pero
kasi
ino-offer
iba
pa na
goals
voucher.
talaga kasi wala namang, kunyari, certain name nakalagay dun sa voucher pala, wala namang ganun na estudyante na
may ghost,
naka-enroll.
tapos ino-offer sa mga may kaya.
So,
Yun
ang dami ng
anomaly.
problema ng education sector natin. Isa na to doon, and pati yung mga binanggit ni President Bongbong Marcos doon sa kanyang SONA. In fact, yung sabi nga niya, yung pag-iimbestiga nga doon sa mga overpriced na laptops na I think yung ibang mga former employees ng DepEd are part of it or allegedly involved.
Well, kinasuhan
na sila kasama yung
former secretary.
Briones,
Yes,
'di ba? Kasi allegedly nga daw involved in this pag-procure ng sobrang mataas na presyo ng
Overpriced basis specs daw eh. Oo. All right, don't go away. We're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. Thank you, by the way, to Buddha's Belly for the
Of
food.
course.
Every
our
Friday yan,
spread.
walang ano yan, walang sablay yan. Every Friday, they send us yung hakaw, they send us buchi, fried rice, and a dim sum platter. Thank you, Marjorie.
All right. The Social Security System has announced a 3-year pension increase starting September 2025 without raising contributions. Each year, retirement and disability pensioners will receive a 10% increase, while survivor pensioners will get 5% more. By 2027, minimum pensions will climb to around 2,900 pesos for retirement, 2,600 pesos for disability, and over 2,300 pesos for survivorship. For average pensions, retirement benefits will go up to 7,000 pesos, disability pensions to 6,600 pesos, and survivorship pensions to 4,800 pesos. At the highest level, retirement pensions will exceed 29,000 pesos, disability pensions will reach 24,000 pesos, and survivorship pensions will rise to more than 23,000 pesos. Okay, of course, ang tinitignan nila dito, kung may enough ba na pondo ang SSS to do this.
How long?
Oo, kasi they're going to increase yung pension, nabanggit naman natin dun sa report natin, but walang increase ng contribution. Pero sabi naman ng SSS, covered naman daw yung kanilang mga pinag-aralan nila itong plan na to, and definitely aabot naman daw dito yung sinasabi nilang 3-year pension plan, increase rather.
In hindsight, titignan mo yung mga amounts na ito. Medyong, we understand you have to have a balancing act, pero yung mga retiree, parang kulang din naman talaga ito to survive.
Yeah,
given na, especially pag fully retired ka na, wala ka ng income to support yourself. And then, yan lang amount makukuha mo. But it's welcome development na it's tumaas.
Yeah, it is. Kasi
Welcome
ang
development.
sinasabi nila, the last across-the-board pension increase was in 2017 pa. That was during the time of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Ang in-approve niya yung 1,000 pesos hike in monthly benefits. So, yun yung sinasabi. Pero ito kasi, itong 3-year pension na to, walang contribution.
Walang additional. All right, the cases of hand, foot, and mouth disease in the country have so far tripled, prompting intensified efforts to prevent the disease. Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal, Arles de los Santos.
Tumaas ang kaso ng hand, foot, and mouth disease sa bansa, kaya ang Department of Health may paalala sa publiko. Nagsimula sa simpleng singaw sa bibig at rashes sa kamay at paa hanggang nagkaroon ng lagnat. Ito ang nangyari sa 2 taong gulang na anak ni Geraldine. Ang mga yan, sintomas na pala ng hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Yung una, nakitaan ko lang siya ng maliit na singaw sa sa lips niya. And then, binilan ko lang siya ng cream kasi kala ko, minsan kasi kapag nadadali yung lips niya, nagiging singaw yung sugat. And then, nung kinabukasan, nakitaan ko na siya sa may paa niya na parang maliliit na bilog na parang paso. Check up ko kaagad yun. Tapos yun, nalaman ko na hand, foot, and mouth disease siya.
Ang kanyang ikinabahala kung paanong nagkaroon ng sakit na ito ang anak. Gayong hindi naman daw sila nalabas ng bahay, lalo na sa ulang dala ng habagat noong nakaraang linggo.
Ang sabi ng pedya, oo, yung baby mo naka-stay lang sa bahay. Pero yung mga taong naglalabas-pasok sa inyo, pwedeng ayon yung may dala ng virus.
Ayon sa DOH, ang hand, foot, and mouth disease ay isang nakahahawang sakit na karaniwang nakaaapekto sa mga batang 5 taong gulang pababa. Airborne ito at kumakalat sa pamamagitan ng exposure sa laway, ubo at sipon gaya ng pagbahing o pag-ubo ng isang taong apektado nito. Ayon sa datos ng DOH, mula Enero hanggang Pebrero 2025, umabot na sa 7,598 ang kaso ng hand, foot, and mouth disease sa bansa. Halos triple yan kumpara sa bilang ng kaso sa kaparehas na panahon noong 2024 na 2,665 lamang. Kaya ang paalala ni Doc,
technically, hindi naman siya siguro weather-related, no? Pero kasi isa actually a whole year round pwedeng magkaroon ng HFMD. Nagkakaroon na tayo ng outbreaks kapag hindi malinis ang environment natin. So, kailangan hand washing talaga, maghugas ng kamay. at make sure lang na hindi ma-share yung mga ginagamit ng bata with sa other children in the family.
Sa panahon ngayon, mahirap ang magkasakit, lalo na ang mga bata. Kaya para makaiwas dito, siguraduhin ang kalinisan para may kapanatagan sa kalusugan. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos po. Hatid, ang mukha ng balita.
Gilas Pilipinas has arrived in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for the FIBA Asia Cup. They hope to use the coming days to further prepare for the tournament with the first game set for August 6 Philippine time. Injured forward Calvin Oftana is with the team. He says rest and recovery can come after the tournament. Gilas will face Chinese Taipei, New Zealand, and Iraq in the first round. The Philippine team aims to improve on its 9th place finish from the previous FIBA Asia Cup in 2022.
Plus si Ren Sabando ba has been removed down from the list. Hindi siya pupunta kasi ng practice. I don't know if he's recovering from an injury or may commitment siya from his other teams. Pero hindi daw siya pupunta.
What is the other team?
Yeah, I think it's Japan or somebody si Ren sa Japan, Korea. Kasi hindi daw siya sumipot sa practice. Yun ang statement na nanggaling sa coaching staff ng Gilas Pilipinas.
Nonetheless, good luck pa rin sa ating Gilas Pilipinas. Ano bang significance itong
qualifier for Olympics? We're on the way for the road sa next Olympics. Remember, we watched nung nasa Pilipinas sila, we watched
2028 next Olympics, ba?
Yeah. We watch yung sa
yung FIBA. Yun.
Qualifiers to. Ito mga qualifiers pa lang to.
Alright, good luck, of course, di ba? Siyempre, Pinoy pride pa rin tayo.
Pinoy pride tayo. Alright, well, of course, it's a Friday. Thank you for joining us for this week of a lot of issues from impeachment to, budget, to missing Sabongeros, to flood control.
Usapin ng SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, diba? So,
and by the way, thank you again to Marjorie Tan of Buddha's Belly for sending us these wonderful treats every Friday. And before we let you go, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote. You don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, let go, and see what happens. A quote from Andy Hale. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again on Monday. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.